Hi, my name is Courtney Alexander. I am the digital marketing editor, and this is my colleague, Donnie Travis. He is the digital marketing sales editor. It is a pleasure for you to be joining us live today. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And just as I'm excited to introduce our guest today, our guest is none other than a man with 3 Grammy Award nominations, 10 Dove Awards, 6 Stellar Awards, 19 albums in and still going strong, still topping Billboard gospel charts, a singer, a songwriter, and an actor that you can actually catch in his new film, The Fallen, that is currently streaming on All Black, the king of contemporary gospel himself, but none other than a man of God, Mr. DEITRICK HADDon.
The
Pastor Dietrich
king
Haddon,
of contemporary. Who crowned me the king? I didn't know I was the king.
that's what they told us to call you, so that's what I'm calling you today. How you doing?
Hey, I'll take it today. What's up, Donnie? What's up, Courtney? Good to be with y'all.
No
It's
problem.
great
Glad to have
having
you.
you.
Oh, we're
All right.
live. Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yep, we are live. We are live. So we're just gonna jump right into it real quick. So the first question that I really want to ask is, what was really the driving force for you to want to start singing and go into gospel in general?
I've been in, I was raised in a singing family. I mean, all my brothers and sisters can sing. My father plays the organ and sing. My mother sings and preaches, and so just coming from a family full of gospel singers, and I tell you what really motivated me. I would see my dad preach and sing and write his own songs on the spot on a Sunday morning. Songs they know folks ain't never heard before, but he'll tear the church up singing. Hey, yeah, we walking down the aisle singing. I said, man, that's powerful. And I would see people run to the altar and just fall to their knees and things like that. I would be like, man, I got to sing gospel music, man. There's nothing more powerful than seeing people touched in their hearts by the song and the spirit. And so that's what motivated me to sing gospel music. Now, I had plenty of opportunities, though, to sing other music. I turned down at least 4 mainstream record deals. One with Arista. My first record deal I turned down was Arista Records. Had the deal. I actually signed the deal, to be honest with you. I had about 20 R&B songs saying, baby, I love you. I mean, I was 16, 17, had about 20 songs in the can ready to go. And then I left. The night I signed the deal, I went home and I was just praying and thanking God for the deal, whatever. He's like, no, buddy, don't ever go back to that studio again. You got to sing the gospel. I put more in you than to just sing about one thing. You got to sing the gospel. And I believe that, that's been my mission ever since, just sing the gospel. And I'm in it. I'm in it.
And that was going to actually be my follow up, because there are a lot of artists that start off in gospel, but one thing leads to another, and then they actually find themselves going or straying away from gospel, and then end up kind of losing that touch that they had with music in general.
Well, to be honest with you, it's not the easiest thing to be a gospel artist, because the audience itself is hard. You know how church people are and how religious they could be. Everything you do is evil. Oh, that's the devil. Oh, everything you do. So it's not the easiest thing to do. It's definitely a calling. It bothers me when I see people say, you just trying to be a rock star. You trying to be this and that and the other. I said, man, I'm not trying to be nothing. If I wanted to, I just go and make rock music. I can write it all. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to be a rock star singing gospel music. If you decide to sing gospel music, you're trying to get a message out. You have a call on your life, because you can make way more money singing R&B or hip hop or trap or whatever. Gospel music is a calling, and you won't have to deal with the hard audience. So don't ever tell a gospel singer you trying to be something that you're not. Don't tell him that. Because he'll look at you cross-eyed. He'll say, you got it all wrong. I'm trying to be myself and do it for the Lord and inspire people. That's what I'm trying to do. Because if I want to make money, just like I went to the studio and wrote a gospel song, I can write an R&B song. No problem. No big deal. So don't do gospel artists like that. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm. So, who is someone that has influenced your work as an artist?
Oh, I'm inspired. I'm inspired by a lot of people. And I love that whole soul movement back in the day, like the Stevie Wonders, the Donny Hathaways, the Al Green. He's still alive and one of the greatest to ever do it. If you ever look back and watch some of those Al Green concerts when he was younger, he was the baddest man on the planet. Not to mention like the Frankie Lymans and and all these great artists. I'm inspired. I still to this day go back and watch all those artists, their performances. So I still get inspiration from that, because you don't see that every day. Nowadays, everybody don't really take the time to really nurture their craft, because now it's a get famous quick culture. So people don't really, I mean, when you see a concert, they're just walking up and down the stage, and just, doing the same thing. Everybody doing, same old move, But if you watch Al Green, if you watch James Brown, you watch MJ, they were performers. They knew what they were doing. They were in touch with the rhythm. They were in touch with the soul. And that's what inspired me.
All right. So I actually want to talk, because you did end up forming a group called Voices of Unity Choir. And you actually did get signed to the Ty Scott label, I believe.
Yes.
Yep. So what did being in that group and working with a label really teach you about working with a label, as well as really teaching you stuff from within? Because a lot of times when you're in these positions of working with labels and working in groups, something within you actually comes out and you learn something about yourself that you probably otherwise never would have learned.
One thing I would tell people is a small door is an entrance to a large place. Never despise small beginnings or look down on something because you don't think it's big time. Now, Ty Scott Records was a boutique label that really didn't have a lot of big artists on it. Their biggest artist was John P. Key at the time, who was a gospel legend. Shout out to Reverend John P. Key, who paved the way, and he's still killing the game. But a lot of people told me, man, you don't want to, you didn't wait all this time to sign with that little label, that little small label. What you doing? You need to go on over there to Atlantic Records or go over there. And they don't know, I already turned down that deal. Yeah, I already turned it down. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to see what I'm going to do in gospel. And so when the opportunity presented itself, I seized the moment, because I believe that a small door, what you consider to be small, could be a big deal to your career. And it's proven to be a big deal to my career, because by signing with that small label, that label have been in business with me since way back when, since I signed with them. I'm no longer on their label, but I'm still making movies with them. They're one of my partners with the films that I do. I did a film called Blessed and Cursed. They were my partners with it. I did a film called A Beautiful Soul. They were my partners. I got a film called The Fallen. They're my partners. See, when you handle your relationships right, what you think is small will follow you and bless your life if you handle it correctly. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I know in the industry, I can imagine that, I guess, peer pressure and I guess just trying to fit in. What are some ways that you remain true to yourself? I know that it can be difficult because R&B, like you mentioned, is, it tops the charts. So I know that with gospel, I guess it may not be as popular as R&B. So yeah, what are some ways that you remain true to yourself during that time?
Well, now gospel music is becoming like the main thing, because people are realizing they need to be inspired. And so you see now R&B kind of falling off and gospel kind of going to the top, And so I don't really believe in people trying to fit into anything. I say you just be yourself, be authentically you, and don't try to fit in. Just be who you are, write your songs. And I believe if you produce the product, it will sell itself. If you be true to who you are, the audience that's called to hear your sound, they will support you and hear your sound. And so I don't believe in dumbing yourself down, or your style from style to the style of a song. I don't subscribe to that. If you follow my ministry or my career down through the years, you'll see, okay, Deitrick is on his own, this gospel music, then this Deitrick over here doing his way of doing it, and it works for me. At night, when I lay down at night, I say, man, I've done the best I can to please you, God, and to inspire others. And when I wake up in the mornings, whole thousands of people have subscribed to it and said, my goodness, we love this. This is what we want. Continue to do it. And so that's it. Just be yourself.
And that's actually a good thing that you talk about being yourself, because the more that the music industry goes along, the more it's like you hear everybody trying to sound like somebody else rather than put their own spin or put their own sound to it. And you actually have done a very great job of having your own sound to yourself. But when you hear the term gospel soul, what does that truly mean to you?
I believe gospel is soul. You know, a lot of those soul singers, they got it from the church. They got it from, you know, somebody praying in the house, and they would hear grandmama praying, you know, and they would, or the church folks praying through, you know, trying to make it through those years back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And so I believe the gospel is soul. It reaches the soul. And so it means everything to me, you know, and that's why I do it, because I'm able to really tap into what's really on my heart to say to people and how I feel, you know. And I just think that's everything. When you can do what you love and you do it from the heart, you do it from the soul, it will reach people's hearts. It will touch other souls. I love it, man. I think it's everything.
So we know that you have had great success in your 30-year career. Um, Outside of your career, what do you love most? What do you enjoy most about being a husband and father?
Oh, outside of my career, is my kids are everything. My family is everything. I'm a family guy. You know, I came up, it was 8 of us, no, 9 of us actually. I'm number 9. It was 9 of us. We like, you know, a full house, you know. And so I believe in family. I'm a man of family. And so what brings me joy every day is just watching my kids grow. I have a 10-year-old. Her name is Destin Monet. I have an 8-year-old. Her name is Denver Monroe. And I have my son, my only son, Dietrich Jr. We call him Bear Bear. He's 6, getting ready to turn 7. And so just watching them is like seeing my life all over again, and just making sure that they don't make the mistakes that I've made. My whole world now is just educating them and teaching them, you know, early, teaching them. I tell them, if you're going to be in the music business, this is how you're going to have to do it. You know, y'all going to write them songs. You're going to make the money. There's too many broke gospel artists. You're going to be rich. We changing the game. Your daddy ain't broke. You ain't broke. So this is how we're going to do it. And I believe there's a next generation that's coming along that's going to get it and take it to a whole nother level, you know. And so, yeah, that's what moves me every day, my family, and being a faithful husband to my wife, and just building something, you know, making these films. You know, it's all about establishing something great. You know, I've done a lot of things in my life, and now it's all about business. It's all business for me, you know, and I'm excited about it.
One question I had to make sure to ask you about, because as a fellow Detroiter myself, there's
Detroit, yes
yes,
sir.
you, boy. Yes, sir. Yeah, so growing up in Detroit, but especially growing up in the church, because there are a lot of negative influences that happen in and around Detroit. And so one of the very positive things that I believe that Detroit and Michigan in general really has is our faith in the way that we preach and the way that we worship the Lord. So what do you think kind of like the impact of growing up in a church and growing up in a church in Detroit really had on you?
It had everything on me. It shaped me, you know, my thinking, how I approach everything to this day. I go back to my years in Detroit. I'm in Los Angeles now, but my entire world is in Detroit right now. My mother, my father, my sisters, my brothers, everybody. My family is there, my aunts, my uncles. I made my mistakes there. I grew up in Detroit. And let's talk about Detroit as it pertains to the music, right? Coming up, man, you had these examples. You had Aretha Franklin up the street, you know, so you may see her going grocery shopping. You know, that's how it was. It's like Aretha Franklin was all of our aunties, you know. That's Aretha over there. I went to school with her niece, Crystal. And so or you may run into Anita Baker driving up somewhere, or you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about the gospel pedigree. I mean, the Winans, BB and CC, all the brothers, the Clark sisters, Karen Clark, Dorinda, Twinkie, all of them. They all in Detroit. Commission, Fred Hammond, you name it. They all went to this a school called Mumford High School. You know about Mumford High School, Donnie? Mumford High School.
I went to Cass Tech, so I know them all too well.
Rivals. We rivals. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but they all went to Mumford. And so I went to Mumford too. So for me, it was like, man, when I would go to the music class and I see their pictures on the wall, and we had the same music teacher, Miss Jackson, where her name is Miss Thompson now. Shout out to Miss Thompson. She taught me also. So I was like, man, I gotta make it. I gotta represent. I can't get the ball and drop the ball. I gotta slam dunk it. You know what I'm saying? So I've always had that in my mind. I gotta represent Detroit. So any Detroiter knows, like, it's always in the back of our minds, like, you represent the city. wherever you go, no matter where you are, who you are, you got to represent the city. Yeah.
All too.
So for my next question, can you tell us about some of your upcoming projects?
Yes, right now it's all about The Fallen. My movie The Fallen is out right now on ALLBLK. And people, the reviews are coming in like crazy. All black. There it is right there. The Fallen is streaming right now. I need everybody to go right now and watch that movie. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to bless you. It's based out of Detroit and Los Angeles. So, Donnie, you will love that. You'll see Detroit culture in there. But it's a beautiful movie. That's what I'm on right now. And then there's a soundtrack to the movie that's incredible. Like, that's probably one of my best albums that I've ever done, is this soundtrack to this movie, because it allows me to write songs outside of the parameters of just gospel music. You know, the foundation of it is faith and gospel, but I wrote to really express the mood of the movie and express certain scenes. And so you got those songs on the soundtrack. You got to get it. It's incredible. So right now, that's what I'm on right now. It's all about ALLBLK, the movie The Fallen, streaming right now. The soundtrack is available on all digital platforms. But future projects, there's just more movies. Like we're going to shoot another movie in Atlanta, Georgia this year. It looks like we'll be shooting around September, October. That's what it's looking like now. So I'm excited about that movie. If you like The Fallen, just lock in with me. I want to tell all the supporters out there that's following me. If you like my music, you like my movies, lock in with me for the next 10 years. We're going to change the game when it comes to movies, theater, and music, and how people see gospel music. We're going to redefine what you consider to be a gospel artist, or what we can do. You know, we're breaking the rules right now. You don't see that every day, where a gospel artist write his own film, direct his own film, and star in it. That's not something you see. I don't think you see it at all, you know, but it's here. It exists. I exist. And it's going to open it up for so many great artists to come along and see how important it is for us to take the gospel to a whole nother level and change the world.
That's actually pretty interesting, because it's one of those things where you are paving the way as it's happening right now, but you're opening up a floodgates for a generation on top of generation that's going to come in after you. So, but it's 30 years, 19 albums, and you still have, I believe, still a great career ahead of you. But after a certain point, what's really like your driving force, the motivation to keep going? Because a lot of people would hang it up after 15, 20 years, let alone still going for 30.
See, the thing about it, how can I articulate this? When you decide to do gospel and hang out in that genre, it already has been light years behind other genres. So even though I have a 30-year career with 19 records, it's still so much work to do. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it's been in a certain space, which is good because it keeps me innovative. It keeps me creative. It helps me to evolve and develop who I am in such a way that when people do experience it on this level that we're on now with making movies, it's powerful. It's effective. When you watch The Fallen, you can see this is somebody who's 30 years in the game. You know what I'm saying? Who's still got 30 years ahead of them. You know, and that's the beautiful thing about it. You know, sometimes you getting all that you want too soon could be bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to always be in the chase for it, because what it will do is it will give you longevity. It will keep you creative, and it'll all unfold to you as you go down through the years. That, you know, there's a greater calling. There's something bigger. There's something bigger than this, just one generation. You're here to be etched in the sands of time. And until everybody in the world knows who DEITRICK is and my work, I got work to do, you know? And so that's what motivates me every day.
So where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Like, what would you like to accomplish? What are some major things that you would like to see accomplished in your career?
I'm working hard to be one of the first gospel artists to produce big budget movies for big film companies. And so that's what I want to do. I want to make history saying he came from singing gospel music, all this, but he evolved and became this Steven Spielberg type of guy who brought you the gospel in a way that we've never seen it before. And he knew how to do it, and he made money doing it, and he brought the audience together and inspired people. That's me in 10 years. I'm working hard at it already. And so The Fallen is one of those installments, on my way to the big deal. And so that's why I need everybody to support it. I mean, I need y'all to stand with it and say, Deitrick is going somewhere, and I'm rocking with him, starting right here with The Fallen.
That's good. That's good. And you've been dropping a lot of gems. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are watching that are gonna definitely take heed of a lot of the advice and a lot of the talking points that you said here today. But really, if you had one thing that you could say to somebody that's an up and comer that's really trying to find their own voice, not necessarily have it yet, but still on that track to try and find their own voice, what would be your best tip or word of advice for them?
I would tell everybody that's watching that Jesus Christ of Nazareth spent 30 years of his life for only 3 years of activation or operation. So he spent 30 years of preparation for only 3 years of operation. So I would tell people your preparation time is more important than your operation time, or your activity, because that 30 years will prepare you to be on target when your time comes. You'll hit the target every time. So when Jesus would minister to people, they needed to be healed, they were healed. They needed to touch somebody and get them the sickness away, it was gone, because he took the time to prepare himself. So I would tell everybody in any sphere that you're working in, or whatever genre, whatever it is, don't despise the time to prepare yourself. Don't rush it. And that's the generation we're in now. Everybody want it now. I want it now. I want to be a star now. I want to be a star now. But when you get it, then where you going? Then what you do? Now you got your success that quick. Now what you doing now? You got to take the time to prepare so that you can build a legacy that people will never forget. The reason why we love the Whitney Houstons, she took the time to develop her gift. The Luther Vandrosses and the Michael Jackson, the MJs. I mean, he practiced. He spent all that time as a youngster just practicing and learning how to manage the stage and handle crowds. So when he got in front of a crowd of 100,000 people over in Bucharest, this is no big deal. And their minds are blown, but this guy, he put the time in for it. So I would tell everybody, put the time in. Like, I'm still not in a hurry. So, Deitrick, you got all this stuff, you've done this. And, man, I'm putting the time in for it. I told you I'm going to reach that Steven Spielberg level. I'm putting the time in for it right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. I'm not trying to be Steven Spielberg today. I'm on my way somewhere, and it's all good.
Worry about being the first and only Deitrick Haddon.
Exactly.
So you mentioned building a legacy. Will you have any mentorship programs for the youth so they can follow a similar path to you?
Absolutely. Actually, my wife has been on me about that. She said, you have to start them classes now. The other people need to learn. They need to be on their way. You got a lot to deposit. And so it looks like I'll be doing something soon online to really download into those that really want to know how I've maintained and how I'm getting this stuff done. It's not easy. For instance, we shot this movie, The Fallen, in 2019. And then the pandemic hit and knocked us all out of whatever we were doing. It was on hold for a year or so, and a lot transpired. But just teaching people things like how to persevere, when things have gone crazy and it seems like the project is not going to work. You'd be surprised how just staying with it and sticking with it, how that can change everything for you, and look at us now. We got the film out on ALLBLK right now, and the soundtrack is doing well, and the movie is doing well, and we're on to do the next film. But what if I would have gave up in 2020? What if I would have quit in 2021 when the editors were going slow and couldn't, that person was dying, they were dealing with COVID, and this person was, everything just everybody couldn't get it to work. Those need to be classes about that, and teaching people how to connect with things and how to handle, once you get the opportunity, how you handle the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Like this morning, I've been doing press all day today since 6 a.m. So I had to get up at 5, been going ever since, and love every bit of it. A lot of people, it's amazing to me how people pray for success or opportunities, and when they get the opportunities, they mishandle it, and they're not on top of it. No. See, and that's where the preparation comes in at. Because when you prepare, you understand, okay, it's more than just getting the project out. You got to get the work. You got to promote it. You got to push it. If nobody else do it, you got to be the one to get up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. You got to be the one to press in and get it done. And when you do it, as long as the visionary is on point, everybody else will fall in place. Because as a visionary, you're the leader, right? And so it goes according to the leader. Now, I'm long with it. I'm a preacher, so I'll keep talking. You got to break in and tell me that, okay?
No, trust me. You've been talking great. You've been dropping some really good gems. I can let you talk forever, honestly. But the last question that I had, because I was very curious to pick your brain about this, because being from Detroit, you obviously know the Motown sound. And what was it like to be able to work with a Motown legend like Mickey Stevenson?
Hey, Mickey is my man, 100 grand. I consider him to be my godfather. And he's in my life every day as a real friend. I don't think I go a day without talking to Mickey on the phone or something like that. And it's just an honor, man. It's an honor to be connected with him, to be considered family with him, and to sit and listen to all the real stories, behind the scenes stuff. Mickey is a walking history book, and it's just an honor to be able to work with him, to call him my godfather. I was just with him the other day. His wife had a birthday party. And all the Temptations came over to his house and did a live concert in his backyard. I'm right there just sitting there, oh my God. They're back there singing in his backyard with a full band and everything. So, I mean, I don't take it for granted. It's awesome. He has a lot to offer, with wisdom. I get to gain a lot of wisdom from him. He was just inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, the National Songwriters Hall of Fame. That's with the Beatles and people like that, and so that's a great accomplishment, lifetime achievement, to be in the Hall of Fame, Writers Hall of Fame. And congratulations to Mickey Stevenson, my man. And he's actually a member of my church. I'm a pastor here in Los Angeles, and he's a faithful member of my church. And if you come to my church, you see Mickey Stevenson every Sunday at my church. And so great guy. Awesome.
I might have to plan a trip out there now.
Come on through, man. Come on through. We been having some good old Detroit church too out here. We've been blowing them these LA folks' minds. We have some good old fashioned church.
Amen.
It's awesome.
Courtney, you have anything?
Yes. For my last question, we know that everyone experiences rough patches in life. What are some challenges that you have experienced in your career, and how did you work to overcome that?
That's a good question. I can tell you a whole lot of them. I've been in this for 30 years. I'll just give you one. Imagine at the beginning of my career, close to the beginning, I had a big song on gospel radio called Chain Breaker. Look it up, Chain Breaker, whenever you get a chance. Anyway, this song took off. I did a music video to it. It took off, and it had young people in churches all over the country and all over the world singing this song, Chain Breaker. Now, this was back in the early 90s. I would say around mid 90s. But it was different. I mean, it was like this rock guitar, a little mix of hip hop and Michael Jackson, a little bit, it wasn't your everyday gospel song. It was like, you knew it was a difference. Somebody coming along and doing something completely different. We got to decide whether we like this or not. He dressed different. He looked different. Who is this kid? And I remember traveling and touring on the bus, and I went to a church with 5,000 young people there, and I was in concert, and I sang my song Chain Breaker. He broke the chain, dun. And the crowd went crazy. I mean, kids rushing the stage like it was a rock concert. Like for real. I mean, the church turned into a big rock concert. And the pastor of the church took a microphone out of nowhere and said, "Cut the music, cut it. This is not a house of irrepute." I didn't even know what she's talking about, irrepute. I'm up there singing, and all of a sudden they cut my mic off, and you hear this voice out of nowhere say, "Sit down, sit down. Get out of here." Kicked me out of the church. I'll never forget it. My band was like, "What? We ain't got no sound, no power." And I mean, we were hurt, and the kids at the church were hurt. 5,000, probably more. People were standing outside trying to get in the concert. And I was the talk of the town in DC for about a month. They were trying to get me on the phone to do a radio interview talking about, gospel music in this new day, and are we not being received? Is it of God, or is it of some other source, other power? It was a lot going on. I didn't do no interview about it. I came home, I was hurt. I told my dad, I said, "Dad, I don't know if I want to even do this, because they don't even receive me." You know what I'm saying? And you got people that, even when the young people love it, y'all shutting it down. I mean, this is churches all over the country, And my dad told me one thing. He said, "Don't you say a negative word about that pastor. Don't you put your mouth on that pastor. That pastor was wrong. And they're going to have to answer to God for that." Shutting those young people down from being excited about being a part of church. He said, "You just keep singing your songs and keep being you, and don't talk negative about nobody." And years later, I had the opportunity to go back to that church. I'm crazy like that. I go back in there when they kick me out. I'm from Detroit. We kind of, we want to go back to show you something, And the pastor just told me, it was a lady. She said, she said, I apologize to you. She said, "I'm just old. I was just old. I didn't understand back then. But I'm glad I didn't quit, because there was a moment where I felt like, I don't want to do this, man. I'm going to sing something else. I just turned down a record deal with Arista Records and Columbia Records to do R&B. Now you'll come over here for you to beat me up and kick me out and embarrass me in front of 5,000 people. Man, it was a lot of psychological warfare going on in my mind about that. But I was able to persevere and remember, like, this is my calling, and everybody's not going to understand who you are or what you're called to do. To this day, a lot of people still don't understand. There's a lot of religious people, but I like the culture where we are now, because people are more receptive to unorthodox ministry, or the gospel, not your same old backwoods gospel. You know what I'm saying? You had all these other artists that come along to help break the barriers, and so we're breaking more barriers. They say, they never heard of a gospel artist directing and writing his own films and things like that. Never heard of it. And so we're breaking barriers. And so I'm excited about it. And that's one of the things I had to persevere through. So y'all keep going, whatever it is, whether it be gospel music, whether it be R&B, whatever you called to do, like, keep pressing in. If you know that's your assignment, if you know that's what you called to do, and God has raised you up and given you this assignment, don't ever quit. The problem is quitting. That's the only thing that can stop you, is that you give up, and don't do it. Just keep going.
There's a difference between a quitter and a finisher, is what I always heard.
Right. Exactly. Got to finish it. Got to finish the job. And I'm of that mindset. Got to finish it. You got to get it done.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Pastor DEITRICK Haddon, remember, you can catch his new film, The Fallen, on ALLBLK. It is streaming now. Pastor Haddon, we appreciate you. And whenever you're back in Detroit, please let me know, and I'll be sure to come through and show love.
I'll be in the D-Man in August at my dad's church. I'm going to preach for him and do a little concert for him. Then I think I'm going to do a screening there of The Fallen in Detroit. So I'll stay connected with you and make sure you're there with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you, Pastor. I appreciate it. Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Courtney.
Great blast.
Donnie, y'all take it easy.
Yep. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. We'll catch y'all next time.
Have a blessed day.